everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World coming to you on a Monday. And normally we do our XFL show on Monday, but there is currently an XFL game on right now. So we're going to push our XFL show back until tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that content if you're a fan of the XFL like me and TJ are. But yeah, I also shared the link to all of our streaming platforms, so you don't have to miss us live. You can check us out over there. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2023 NFL free agency. I'll give you some winners and losers, some head-scratching deals, best value, worst value. On the same day that Lamar Jackson has requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens.
No, it's been made public that he requested a trade. The trade actually got requested on the 2nd. So that was over 20 days ago.
Yeah, so he made it public that he has requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. We will get into that in a later episode whenever that happens to shake out. We'll see what that ends up happening. Of course, I'm your host, David On Point. Helping my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins, right there, and we're Prime Sports World. So please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get into it. What do you think so far about free agency so far, TJ?
It's been about as expected. Obviously, the Lamar Jackson. Aaron Rodgers dominoes haven't fallen yet. I think that's what everybody is kind of holding up on, waiting on. Usually we see more draft trades go down during this time period because free agency goes right into the draft. And we've only had one trade, right? That was Carolina and Chicago.
Correct. I also think this has been a bunch so we got kind of spoiled last offseason with all of the big moves that were made last offseason, right? We got the Russell Wilson trade, we got the Tyreek Hill trade, we got the Devontae Adams trade. We got all of those big moves in the offseason. Like, the NFL doesn't usually work that way. And so we kind of all got accustomed to maybe we're going to have off seasons where everything's going to happen all the time. And we're the only trade I think we're going to see moving forward. Well, whatever happens with Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure what's going to happen with that situation. We're going to talk. But, Aaron Rodgers is probably the only other trade we might see. We might see some draft day trades, but I don't think there's going to be anything before the draft. Outside of the Aaron Rodgers trade, whenever that gets done. It feels like he was on the Pat McAfee show like a month ago when he was like, "Yeah, I'll go to the Jets." Like, we kind of figured that would be like the next day he'd be a Jet, but it's been 2 weeks and he's still a Green Bay Packer at the time of this recording.
Apparently, I've never seen a guy make himself out to be the victim the way Aaron Rodgers makes himself out to be the victim. You're not, like, Green Bay is not doing wrong by you, bro. Like, they're not. Right? They're trying to seek what they deem as fair compensation for you. Like, they hold all the cards. Like, I don't think
they don't have to trade you.
For one, they don't have to trade you. For two, all right, New York, you want the guy. Okay, give me your first round pick. If the Jets are saying, no, we're not giving you that 13th overall pick, and if I'm Green Bay, I'm saying, all right, then you have no deal. Everybody's saying, like, well, look back when Brett Favre got traded there, that was a third and some stuff. Yeah, that was also like 12 years ago. And Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career is better than Brett Favre was at that stage in his career. So it's really apples to oranges.
We'll see what ends up happening. Let's get into the nitty gritty here. We talk to the NFL free agency. Let's start with the winners because they are the winners and they should get the shine before the quote unquote losers. By the way, this was actually a fairly difficult free agency class to find like a least favorite signing and worst value. Because I actually think teams have done a good job this offseason of spending money wisely. And I have very few losers. I actually have more winners this time around by a lot than I do have losers. I only got a couple losers when it comes to free agency so far.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of losers either. Like, it's a lot of winners. Right? Chicago for one. Carolina has turned things around. Like, seems like they got a plan by getting Adam Thielen in free agency and some other stuff.
They also Adam Thielen, Miles Sanders, Andy Dalton, Von Bell, Hayden Hurst, who was a good football player, Shy Tuttle, Bradley Bozeman to play center. We signed him, actually. He was already a Carolina Panther. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on the Chicago Bears. I think they are one of the big winners when it comes to this free agency, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The players that they have gotten should make them better already next season. TJ
Yeah,
Edwards, Nate Davis, Traymon Edwards, and Big Bob Tunyon.
yeah. What's his name? Eberflus is actually one of the early betting favorites for Coach of the Year. Right? Like that's crazy. Like considering how things went for this past season. But you got them. Who else is a winner for you?
I also have the Atlanta Falcons on my early winners list here.
Okay, I don't hate that.
Getting J.C. Bates the third. What good football player, make that defense even better, especially in the back end. You pair him with A.J. Terrell, who had a down third season, but was really good the season before. They've shored up this offensive line. Chris Winston re-signing him. David Alimata also makes the defensive line better. Caleb McCarry, another offensive player, and Taylor Heineke, backup quarterback. In my opinion, if I am the Atlanta Falcons, this is where Lamar Jackson should go. Like he should be an Atlanta Falcon because they can win that division this year
easily.
He would automatically become the best quarterback in that division, and not by a landslide. Like it wouldn't be close. And this is a defense that's built to win now. You put Lamar Jackson in front of a decent offensive line, a pretty solid offensive line there that they built over the last couple of years with some weapons. He would arguably have the best weapons he ever had than anything he had in Baltimore.
Yeah, Drake London,
Kyle Pitts. I mean, you re-sign Amalek Zaccheaus as well. You can bring him back into the fold. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons Lamar Jackson should be playing for the Atlanta Falcons next season. He just should be. There's all this talk about the Colts doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. He should be a Falcon. The Falcons should pull the trigger on this.
The Colts, I mean, I get the Colts. That still would be an upgrade of weapons over what he's currently had. Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, and then
the tight end they got Lobo Elliott Cox,
and
then the other guy they just drafted, Jonathan Taylor, obviously.
Jonathan Taylor. And then,
I didn't even mention the running backs in Atlanta. I mean, they got Cordell Patterson. I mean, Tyler Algier, the kid from Ball State who was good this season. His name is totally escaping me right now. But Atlanta Falcons, a big winner for me. I love what Atlanta did this offseason.
I think another team that should be in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes is the Washington Commanders, but they're using their outside stuff as a reason to. Oh, that's why we're not trading for Lamar Jackson because a new ownership may be in, and that. I'm like, dude, shut up. Get him.
If somebody wants to own it, you have a marquee player on your franchise before you even have to spend any money on it. That would be an incentive.
Go get him.
And they have been fairly inactive in free agency this season. I mean, they're rolling out. I mean, Sam Howell. This is a team that's actually on my losers list. Just given everything that's going on with the Commanders, for them, Sam Howell is going to be the starting quarterback of this team. He had one good game. Andrew Wiley, Nick Gates build up that offensive line. Sure, that's fine, but the team has other holes on this offensive side of the football. It's not just. Like they have no quarterback that you can rely on, and for sure is going to be good next season.
Exactly. Yeah. Washington's a loser for me. I would have to throw. So my winners: Chicago, Carolina turned things around. I had them written down. My bad.
I'll just jump in and say, hold on. So I got the 49ers. Another one is my team winners.
Are they really?
Getting Javon Hargrave, I think, is a big. Like you just made your defense was already incredible. That much better, which is by adding that one piece.
But you lost Mike McGlinchey. You lost.
Yeah, but they were never going to be able to keep that guy anyways. He was going to be too expensive anyways. But the fact that they were able to get Javon Hargrave on a team that's drafted really well outside of the Trey Lance situation, but they drafted well. They've moved pieces around well. Javon Hargrave was the best player in free agency, arguably, and they got him. That's a win.
Well, he was the best player that was when the free agency started because. Like Washington tagged and extended Daron Payne almost immediately.
Man, I'm not so sure Javon Hargrave isn't a better player than Payne.
Like it was like
I think it's close.
It's like it's close. It's like we're gonna tag you, and then a couple days later we're gonna extend you because you aren't going anywhere. If it makes sense, I have a winner / loser in the Denver Broncos. Like they're kind of both. Like you get Mike McGlinchey, so you solidify your offensive line. You bring in a Sean Payton who is not going to take that nonsense from Russell Wilson. He's going to nip all that in the bud.
And they got
And
Ben Powers, another offensive guard who should be able to
and
start
they
for them day
got
one.
Ben Powers. So like the reason I say like they're winning for Sean Payton is because of the season Russell Wilson had, he has to listen to Sean Payton. He has like Sean Payton can literally come out and say, "All right, it's my way. This is how we're doing things from here on out," and the whole team has to be like, "Yes, sir, coach. This is how we're doing things," because they were so terrible last season.
I also had Denver as a winner. I didn't have them on the fence like you did, but I mean Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey, Jared Stidham, Zach Allen, who's a low key a really sneaky signing there at the defensive tackle position or defensive line, whatever you want to put him. I like what Denver did a lot actually.
So the reason I had them on
and getting Samaje Perine, that running back, is like also a good value signing. 2 years, $7.5 million. Like
yeah, because what's his name, Javonte Williams. You're still waiting on him to come back from the ACL, and he's not going to be the Javonte Williams he was prior to him getting hurt. That's going to be the following year. The reason I had them on the fence is because you don't like you shop Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, and apparently it took Sean Payton to come out and say, "Yeah, we're not trading those guys." That doesn't mean you didn't. That doesn't mean you didn't field offers. What that means is you shopped them, you got offers, you didn't like any of them, and then you just said, "Yeah, we're not trading them." On a personal note, I understand it's a business, and they understand it better than me because they're there. I'm not, but that probably has them feeling some type of way because.
I mean, maybe, but I think
no, because think about it. If you're Cortland Sutton and you're Jerry Jeudy, you get traded away from Denver. All right, who are you replacing me with? Who are you replacing me with? Think about it. Who's left?
I mean, Tim Patrick's coming back off that ACL tear, but he probably won't be the same player he was.
So you got Russell Wilson throwing Tim Patrick. He's coming back. KJ Hamler.
Who hasn't been good at all since he got drafted in the second round a couple years ago. I know he did get hurt, but yeah, he hasn't been all that good.
Albert O at tight end, and you probably gonna have to draft 2 more receivers when you already had a decent wide receiver room that you just traded away. So yeah, like to me that was stupid. Shopping those.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I think that's the nature of the NFL. I think that as somebody who's I think they understand. I have another big winner. I got the Detroit Lions as another big winner. They had some holes right in the defensive secondary and in the linebacker position. You re-sign Alex Anzalone, who's a good high linebacker, and then you get Cam Sutton, 3 years, $33 million. You steal Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Philadelphia Eagles with a 1-year deal. He might be the best safety in the NFL. And then you get David Montgomery as a good compliment to DeAndre Swift. 3 years, $18 million. You steal him from the Chicago Bears. I love what Detroit did so far this offseason, especially in free agency. I think they smashed it out of the park.
And I think the bigger W in this situation for them is keeping their offensive coordinator at least for this year, because I fully expect that guy to be a head coach by this time next year.
I agree with you on that too, especially if the Lions offense continues to move up on the rankings. Yeah, I expect that to be a thing too. But hey, so before we get to the lose, I got 2 more winners. They're both in New York. I have the New York Jets. You're going to get Aaron Rodgers eventually. I think that's an automatic win. You kind of built some weapons around him. Alan Lazard. You basically stole a second-round pick from the Cleveland Browns. I honestly do not understand what Cleveland was like. Hey, yeah, we'll give you a second-round pick for Elijah Moore and a third. I just don't like Elijah Moore hasn't been good. Elijah Moore's not worth a second-round pick, even if you throw in a third. I don't understand that trade at all. Like no part of it.
They're a winner, but at the same time, can we hurry the hell up on this Aaron Rodgers thing?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, because I don't watch First Take or those shows. I bet they talk about that Aaron Rodgers trade and what the Jets are going to look like when they have him. I'm sick
of it. Like first off, it took Dan Orlovsky to be like, yeah, can we just not? Like, I'm tired of it. Like this is on national TV. He's like, can we not? Like, until something happens, can we not? And because Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. Smith, he is on the camp of you see what Carolina gave Chicago to get an unproven quarterback. We don't even know we don't even know what they're doing. They have their pick of the litter at quarterbacks. If they go quarterback, we already know they're going quarterback, but we just have to be fun and throw that semantic out there and say if they go quarterback, right? They did a pick swap, a future first, a future second for
and first, and a top 10 fringe top 10 wide receiver in the NFL
for an unproven commodity that will be either Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, or CJ Stroud. Aaron Rodgers can't get one first round pick. And I understand it from the Jets' point of view, like, hey, if I do this first round pick, I'm expecting you for more than just these 17 games, bro. I need at least 2 years out of you. So I don't just come on with it. Like, I understand if you're Green Bay, you want your hang up is that first round pick. I want that first round pick if I'm the Green Bay Packers. I want 2 first round picks.
I think it's going to be a pick swap of those first round picks, and I think that second round pick that they just got from Cleveland, that's what they'll get.
And so
they might even get 2 second round picks. But yeah, the fact that you're going to get Aaron Rodgers eventually, we're assuming. I got them as a winner. The other one is just this is one of the things that's kind of on the fence for me. It's the New York Giants. Like I know we'll talk about the Daniel Jones thing in a few minutes, but I just keeping that together. Like, not having to restart from scratch again if you had let Daniel Jones walk and then you bring Saquon Barkley back, you trade for Darren Waller. I like what the Giants did so far this offseason. I think, giving him some legitimate weapons because, Daniel Jones has never really had anyone he can really rely on at the wide receiver position. Those guys have been in and out of rotation, got injuries and whatever. And I'd like the signing of Paris Campbell, too, who's a good football player. I just like what the Giants did. I think they did a solid job.
Like seriously, like the most consistent weapon Daniel Jones can say he's had is probably Darius Slayton.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and you add Darren Waller on there. You add Paris Campbell. Like that's a pretty solid haul. And I know the money for Daniel Jones is a little absurd. We'll get to it here later, but keeping that group together, I think, was important. If the Giants are going to continue to move forward, if they're going to continue to be successful, I don't think putting a new quarterback in that scenario would have been good for this franchise.
No, it's a.
I would have personally franchise tagged him. I wouldn't have given him the money that they gave him. I would have been like, yeah, you had one good season, do it again, and then yeah, you deserve the money if you do it again. But yeah, we'll get to it.
Well, no, I said that all the time. I said that all the time.
I stole it from you.
Are we on losers now? Are we on losers?
We're going swinging over into the losers. I'm sure you want to get one out of the way.
Yeah, one loser. The Eagles. That's what happens when you go to the Super Bowl, right? If you're the winning team, if you're the losing team, you get poached. All right, we thought you lost Darius Slay, but you pulled the okey doke on him. You cut him just to re-sign him. You lost CJ Gardner Johnson. You lost Javon Hargrave. Who else did they lose?
Robert Quinn hasn't signed with anybody yet, but they're going to lose him. They can't possibly save him. TJ Edwards is not a Chicago Bear.
Right, you lost TJ Edwards, so it's.
And they lost Gardner Minshew, for what that's worth.
For what it's worth, like we thought you were going to lose Jason Kelce, but I legit think this is it. Like this, I think this is it for Jason Kelce. Cincinnati's a loser. You lost both your safeties. You lost both of them. And you lost your tight end. And you got a GM already crying broke. Like he tagged and extended what's his name, T. Higgins. Talking about some T. Higgins ain't going nowhere. Then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna need you to stop bitching, stop moaning about you ain't got no money. Because that man coming down the line, it ain't next year. I think
it might be next year, whatever that money's going to be.
I'm going to say, it ain't next year. It ain't 2 years from now. It is now. Like the Joe Burrow extension talks start now.
Yeah.
Like
So of their notable free agents, is they've lost the Eagles. They've lost Javon Hargrave, Andre Dillard, a swing tackle, Miles Sanders, Isaiah Somalia. He's a guard. He's on the Steel. T.J. Edwards, Marcus Epps, Kaiser White, Marcus Mariota. Oh no, Chancey Gardner Johnson, Gardner Minshew, Sack Pascal. They've lost a bunch of players that were contributors to the season with the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, like that's what happens when you get.
And I also agree with you on the Cincinnati Bengals. Losing Samaje Perine, having to deal with all of the Joe Mixon drama during the offseason too. I know he didn't get charged or anything, but I'm sure that wasn't. The front office was like, "Yeah, I can't wait for this to go away." I don't even know if you heard the story. Like what happened with Joe Mixon, but
no, I don't know if I want to hear it. I really don't, but it's something that they have to deal with.
He ended up not getting charged with anything, I guess. So there were like some kids fighting with some Nerf guns near his house, and somebody came out of his house and fired a gun and hit a kid.
As long as here's the thing. He's only in trouble because it was his house.
Oh, 100%.
Like
but it wasn't him. He wasn't home. He wasn't involved.
Right. So boom. There you go. It wasn't him. He wasn't home, and he wasn't involved. What if I'm Joe Mixon?
They didn't know that at first. So they were investigating. Like his name he was investigated because it came from his house. It wasn't until later researching they found out. Oh yeah, he was.
But at the same time, if I'm not involved, I'm not home, and I'm not involved. Like, why the hell am I being investigated in the first place? Like
again, they did not know he wasn't home when they first started the investigation. They just know it came from Joe Mixon.
No. I'm pretty sure Joe Mixon has ring security and all that other stuff on his house. Pretty sure he has that.
100%.
So if I'm a police officer and I'm investigating this, you know what I do? Hey, I need all security footage from this day, from this time to this time, and if I'm a cop, I'm gonna be like, oh, Joe Mixon's not there. I can't bother Joe Mixon with this anymore. Boom.
I think that's what ended up happening, and his name got cleared. Somebody may have gotten charged with something. I think it might have been his sister or something. I don't know. It was just one of those weird off-season stories that was just circulating around the internet. So, I cannot believe you didn't mention this when you did your loser. I got the Ravens as my loser, man.
Of course.
I think
that goes without being said, honestly.
Sometimes it needs to be said because Baltimore, whatever you're doing this offseason, is not working out for you. Like, first of all, I don't think they've even signed a player this offseason. And then this Lamar Jackson stuff, he's been the best quarterback. He won an MVP not that long ago. They got Nelson Aguilar, they got Justice Hill, who they re-signed. They got Geno Stone as a safety, who they re-signed. They've lost all of their other free agents. Everybody else is
Calais Campbell.
Yeah, Calais Campbell's gone, and whatever they're doing with Lamar Jackson, it's just not working out for them. I don't like that. So that 2 minutes before Harbaugh is set to go on give his press conference at whatever meeting they're at right now.
It is made public knowledge that back on March 2nd.
He gets bombarded with questions about a tweet that he hasn't seen yet because Lamar Jackson is just so savvy. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until I know he's gonna be at the podium, and I'm just gonna drop this tweet and just deal with it, man. Figure it out. You build your whole team around Lamar Jackson, then you don't want to pay him. It just doesn't. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's just stupid. They are probably my biggest loser for real. Because if they don't get Lamar Jackson back, if he doesn't end up signing there or he goes anywhere else, they're gonna be the worst team in the NFL next year. No question. Period.
Yeah, and
if you're a Cleveland Browns fan or Cincinnati Bengals or a Steelers fan, you gotta be happy as a clam that Baltimore's imploding in front of your very eyes.
And if you're a Cincinnati fan, you got to be like, "Hey, thank you." Woo!
Yeah, right.
Woo! But yeah, that's. I mean, okay, this is bad business on both parts. This is bad business on. All right, so the number that everybody keeps hanging up on is what was it, 133 million
Yeah.
guaranteed. What is left out of that is it was a 3-year deal at 133.5 million guaranteed, which puts him at like 40, like 44, maybe 44, 44 and a half mil a year. And he would be a free agent again in 3 years. So you sign this deal, you sign that deal, that will make you the second highest paid quarterback behind
Aaron
um,
Rodgers
either him
or Deshaun Watson, one of those guys,
or
or
Pat.
Russell Wilson maybe.
Like so, like yeah, like you would be up there with him, with Pat Mahomes, the shot. Like yeah, you would be there. So obviously, if you're Lamar Jackson, you're not happy on two fronts: the years and the
Well,
guaranteed money.
I actually not totally sure the years is really a problem because think about what the NFL quarterback market's going to be like 3 years from now. If you stay healthy and you're able to become a free agent 3 years from now, you'll be able to. Your next contract is going to be absurd. Like 44 million will be like the bottom level of it. You can probably talking about like making $60 million a year in 3 years from now.
So
So
yeah,
I'm not
it's
necessarily sure the years is the problem. I think that it's just a disrespect from Baltimore. Like if I was Lamar Jackson, I'm like I won an MVP. I took you guys to the playoffs every year I was healthy. Like I shouldn't have to be treated like this. Like I'm an MVP. Like give me the money I think I deserve. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm not playing on the franchise tag. You're either gonna
I'm
trade me
not
somewhere
showing up.
else.
I'm not showing up.
You either trading me somewhere else or I'm not playing next season. So.
I'm
They're
not.
big losers. I don't understand what they're doing and why they would alienate a guy who's been so productive for them.
And
Um,
again, this is inevitably the Cleveland Browns' fault because you paid a guy and Deshaun Watson 250 million, and he's coming off of 26, 28 sexual assault allegations. Like Lamar Jackson, not only can Lamar Jackson say I was a former MVP, you know what else he can say? Yo, I'm squeaky clean off the field. You ain't
yeah,
gotta worry about me getting in trouble. I haven't been in any kind of trouble. And on top of it, so like it's that's the disrespect. You brought this up a while ago. They traded for Roquan Smith and paid him
yeah, right away. So
right away.
and Roquan Smith had his own share of when he joined the Bears. I got a couple other losers too besides the Baltimore Ravens. I got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. Staying in the AFC West. Kansas City losing. Orlando Brown Jr. is a big loss. I know they re-signed Jawan Taylor, but he's not even close to the player that Orlando Brown Jr. is. Also, you lost Juju Smith-Schuster. He was important to the run that you guys made last season to the championship. He's not going to be easy to replace, even if you think Sky Moore is going to take a step forward. Mikael Hardman is now no longer there either, even though he was hurt for a majority of last season. I
No,
think MVS is also a free agent. He probably will not be returning. Kansas City, the players that they've lost, I think are going to be a little crippling. I think they'll be fine as long as they have Mahomes. But they cut Frank Clark too, and didn't replace him with anybody. So,
Sky Moore is not he's not the receiver that Juju is. Like just, but what I mean by that is like it's just like different body types. Like Juju is a
yeah,
big. He's a big body receiver. Sky Moore is a shift. Like Sky Moore is a slot guy, and Sky Moore is he's a college receiver one, like because he was that at Western Michigan. He's a number one in college. He goes to the NFL. He's a 2/3.
I mean, Jared McKinnon, they still haven't re-signed him. Like, I wouldn't be so quick to let him walk. So I just think that situation is not exactly ideal. Also, the Chargers, a little bit just due to basically inactivity on this part of the Chargers. Your big free agency splash this so far all season has been Eric Kendricks. Coming off a down season for the Vikings, but he does shore up that run defense a little bit. And then he did re-sign Donald Parham, but pretty inactive for the Chargers.
I would have to throw the Cardinals in that loser slot either for the same reason: inactivity. You haven't replaced Chandler Jones. You haven't replaced J.J. Watt. DeAndre Hopkins was being shopped. It's chaos.
So they've re-signed Will Hernandez, they've re-signed Calvin Beachum, and they poached Zach Pascal from the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all they've done so far this offseason.
Yeah,
So Yeah.
Right, and
then my final loser is the Green Bay Packers. Yes, you're going to get draft compensation for Aaron Rodgers, but anytime you're losing a guy who's a generational player, doesn't want to play in your franchise anymore, you have to take the L on that. You just do.
No, right. So first off, I wholeheartedly disagree with you on that one. They're a winner. No, they're a winner in my book because fine it and the only thing they're a loser on is the amount of time it took for them to be like, you know what, Aaron, tired of your nonsense. I'm out. Done. Bye. Right? That's what they're a loser.
He's got to go back on another darkness retreat in order to get this trade done.
That's where they're the loser on. Like if I'm Green Bay and I'm tired of this, dude. Like every year for the past 5 years. That's how fuck is. I don't know if I'm coming back. It's not up to me. Yes, it is. It's 100% up to you. Like so, if I'm and like, why do you think they drafted Jordan Love? Like not outside of them prepping for the future, but them like they get tired of. If they want me back, I'll be back. It's not up to me, you know. I'm like I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like all right, if you're talking like that, you know what? Hey, Jordan Love, let's go.
100%. Let's move over from winners and losers. Let's talk about just best value. So I have one guy I think so far for best value. I actually think it's the contract that Baker Mayfield signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1 year, $8.5 million. He at least studies the ship for at least this one season. I actually think that's pretty good value for a starting caliber quarterback.
How steady of a ship do you think that's gonna be?
I mean, it's not gonna be a super steady ship, but you can at least keep the. I don't know, man. He'll keep the lifeboats ready to go. I just think that's decent money for Baker Mayfield. This is a dude
who couldn't get it together with Baker with Odell and Jarvis Landry to throw to.
He did have like he seems to have one good season, and he was solid as a member of the Los Angeles Rams at the end of the season. He was solid.
Yeah. We're gonna highlight that one good game he had against the Rams.
Yeah, or the Raiders.
Or the Raiders. Yeah, you know what I meant. Like we're gonna highlight that one game against the Raiders.
I'm just saying, 1 year, $8.5 million for a starting caliber quarterback is not bad value.
My best value is probably, and I might be a little biased here, but it's DJ Moore. You get a receiver who's, 24, 25, still on, like, he got, 2 years left on this deal? Maybe, yeah, he got 2 years left on this deal. You catching him right in his prime. Yeah, and I don't think Ryan Poles is going to mess this up and not re-sign him.
DJ Moore turns 26. Next month. So he's still
young. Yeah. He's still got years left on this current deal. So we don't have to worry about an extension, at least not right now. But it's gonna happen. Just hold on. Like all the key players on the Bears are 28 years old or younger.
So he's under contract until 2025. So he's got this season, next season, and the season after that. They could potentially get out of his contract next offseason, but I don't think they'll do that. He's got $15 million in 2024, $14 million in 2025. He's a free agent in 2026 when he'll be 29 years old.
Yeah, it's a great time to be a free agent because I think DK Metcalf is a free agent around that time too. But it's DJ Moore for me.
I'm also going to say Geno Smith, just because of the way this contract is structured. Seattle Seahawks did a very good job of building this contract. I think they could basically have his contract only partially guaranteed for the season after next, so they could basically walk away from him next offseason if they wanted to, and not be totally hamstrung by his contract. That's pretty good value there. On the other side of the coin, the worst value so far in free agency.
It's got to be Daniel Jones, right?
It's got to be, right? It's got to be. I don't get it. this is why the Baker Mayfield contract, in my opinion, is such good value, right? Because you're getting a starting quarterback who's been better than Daniel Jones, right? You would give me that at least. He's only $8.5 million. You gave Daniel Jones $40 million over 4 years. 4 years, $160 million. He's going to be like the 10th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. He's had one year where he was even productive. Like he was a productive player for one season, and you're going to pay him $40 million for the next 4 years.
It's like imagine if he does regress, right? Imagine if that regression hits.
Or if he just plays how he's played for the majority of his career.
So what was it? I think him and Justin Fields threw the same number of touchdown passes. They both threw 17 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Am I right? They both threw and 17 touchdowns and the playoff appearance, might I add, will get you $40 million. Young quarterbacks out there.
you only have to be good for 1 year if you want to get 40. Just make sure it's the contract year. He threw 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He only threw for 3,200 yards.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, dude. Of course, 4 years, 160. This is the worst value in free agency so far. Like if I was the New York Giants, I know they must not have been able to come to terms with Saquon Barkley with an extension on him. There's no chance in hell I would have given him Daniel Jones this contract. I would have franchise tagged Daniel Jones, and I would have figured it out with Saquon Barkley. This is a vast overpayment. It's going to look if it doesn't work out, it's going to look terrible. Potentially even next season.
This is one of those. This is career defining for the GM, not Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones ain't did. Daniel Jones did what he was supposed to do. Daniel Jones signed the dotted line. Daniel Jones ain't finna be like, wait, you're sure you want to offer me that? I'm not worth that, man. Come on. What's the real offer? Come on. Where's the 1 year? Where's the tag? Daniel Jones did what he was supposed to do. Daniel Jones walked in. He's with his agent. He saw the offer sheet, didn't hesitate, and got out.
But yeah, that's the worst value for me. And then he's also my head scratching one too. I know it seems terrible to double. I'm actually going to triple up on Daniel Jones. He's my least favorite signing, and it's my most head scratching, and it's the worst value. I just don't understand this Daniel Jones contract whatsoever. There's nothing in me. There's nothing I watched in him that thinks he should be worth $40 million.
So you said it's your worst value, head scratching, and least favorite.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, I'm telling you, dude. I was looking through contracts to see if I could pick a different one to go, because I didn't want to have the same one over and over again. But I couldn't. So I looked at all the money that people got. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't mind that. The Daniel Jones contract makes zero sense whatsoever. I don't get it. I don't like it. It could potentially hamstring the Giants for the next 4 years at least. If he doesn't play well, they're screwed.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah. So it's that's I think my worst is no. I'm gonna say that for my head scratching. Like it's not.
We're on that one right now, head scratching. So
it's I agree with you on the Daniel Jones, but not to pile on to it, because I don't know what more can be said after what you just said. It's definitely Elijah Moore to Cleveland, like that. Just it's like
man, that's another one.
It's like, are you sure? Like that's the move you want to make? Like that's the move you want to make? Are you positive about that? Like, wow. I remember when I brought him up, I think it was him and Denzel Mims. They requested trades, and you were like, "Okay, first off, who are they to be requesting anything?" And I'm like, I don't think that's the point. That's not the point of it.
I mean, Elijah Moore has had 900 receiving yards in 2 seasons. He's had 80 catches in 2 years. He's had 6 touchdowns. He regressed from year 1 to year 2. I just don't understand. He played more games this season and was less productive.
So Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like I'm Cleveland. I just don't like a second round pick. Like no way. I'm like I know you want to get another compliment wide receiver to Amari Cooper, and that's kind of what you've been doing since you've been looking for someone to replace um whoever you had before, Jarvis Landry, I guess. But like this is not the move. I wouldn't have given up a second round pick. I just don't think he's worth that. Yeah, it's pretty head scratching for me too.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading this. Oh, there we go. Um, this is just a personal. This is just something personal for me. Um, so Cooper Rush re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys, right? But what's his name? Skip Bayless swears up and down that teams are gonna make Cooper Rush their starting quarterback. I'm like, dude, no one on God's green earth was gonna make Cooper effing Rush their starting quarterback. No, like I don't know who I legit want to know like who are your sources? Where are you hearing that from? Because the only place Cooper Rush can play is right where he's at. Yeah, so like you go on thinking he's better than Dak Prescott. You think that you go on keep thinking that, and the Dallas Cowboys are gonna go into year 29 because I'm 29 years old, and the last time the Cowboys made the NFC Championship was literally the year I was born. And so, yeah, Cowboy fans, you want to blame somebody? Blame me. I will take pride in that.
So we're a positive show here. Let's end this with our favorite signing so far. What has been your favorite signing so far this free agency cycle? Is it pretty much done? The only thing really left to do is Lamar Jackson, really.
It's Lamar and the Aaron Rodgers domino. Like we gotta.
Yeah, but
I mean, don't like those. No, seriously, those are the two. That's what you call
and
it.
I didn't think the DeAndre Hopkins domino. I think is something else that's going to fall between now and the draft, or during the draft potentially as well. Um, but yeah, what's your favorite signing so far?
So low key, my favorite signing so far is oddly enough, it's Derek Carr in New Orleans. He's out of that toxic hellhole that is the Vegas Raiders. He's in a situation where hopefully he can finally know what it feels like to be appreciated. He's had two coaches, his last two coaches with that organization never embraced him, never put their arms around him, never said, "This is my guy." And as a quarterback, like that has to feel some type of way. You had Raider fans out there off of one game thinking Jarrett Stidham was better than Derek Carr. And it's like in what world? Like again, this guy was a couple plays away from winning AFC Offensive Player of the Year till he broke his leg.
Yeah, I mean he might even won the MVP that season too.
He
I mean, if he doesn't break his leg,
he would have been in the running.
100%. Yeah, I think I like the Derek Carr signing as well. I also like some of the other stuff that New Orleans did as well. I mean, getting a pick for Sean Payton, the Jamal Williams signing, I think is a really nice compliment to Elvin Kamara. But my favorite signing actually is Orlando Brown Jr. going to the Cincinnati Bengals. The contract number is not as egregious as it could have been. And they address a major need is that offensive line. Joe Burrow is still getting hit way too much for a guy who's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL this upcoming next offseason probably. He's everything, and then you got an offensive tackle, 4 years, $64 million. This is Orlando Brown Jr. is my favorite signing so far.
Which is crazy because he took less money to go there because the bag he could have gotten in KC was way bigger. And I mean, but it's a give and take league, right? You trade for Orlando Brown Jr., then your other starting left tackle, what's his name, Jonah Williams? He requests a trade out of Cincinnati because it's kind of it's weird. It's not weird. It's like a full circle for Orlando Brown, right? You get drafted by Baltimore, but Baltimore has Ronnie Staley. Ronnie Stanley's not being like he's not going anywhere.
Especially since they just extended him like right before that.
So if you're Orlando Brown Jr., you've pretty much been a left tackle your whole career up until you go to Baltimore and they make you a left tackle. But you understand the semantics of the game. Right tackles don't get paid like left tackles get paid. So you get traded to KC and you get a bag, and then you're doing to Jonah Williams what the Baltimore Ravens did to you. In a way.
But yeah, I personally really like that signing. I also really like the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson signing going to the Detroit Lions. It's probably one of my favorites too. Yeah, I think there's been some really like money's been well spent this offseason. Like it wasn't like a couple of like outside of the Daniel Jones thing, obviously, but I feel like money's been well spent this offseason for sure so far.
Yeah, so if back to Detroit, like them getting CJ Gardner-Johnson, they also got Emmanuel Mosley from what was it, San
Francisco? Yep.
So and Cameron Sutton, I forgot where they got him from. Where they get him from?
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
So if you're Detroit, that just changes your draft board almost completely, right? So
I'm not so sure. I think they still need to address the cornerback position, but you can go somewhere else if you wanted to. Like it's not as pressing a need as it was before.
Oh no, that 6th overall pick, yeah, that's a trade chip. That is a huge trade chip. I don't even know if I want that pick anymore. I'm being facetious like a mug, but I'm just saying if I get a call, if I get an offer for like, hey man, like, if I'm like, because what are they at 6? They at 6, right?
Correct, 6.
So like, if hey. Somebody, hey, I want that 6th overall pick. All right, what you want? Like, I want your 6th overall pick. Okay, what are you giving me?
Well, I think the Lions were always a candidate to trade down, even before this. Like, I think the cornerback is so deep in this draft class that you could have traded back a little bit and still gotten a good guy. Like, I don't really know who would be trading up. The Commanders, maybe. If you trade up with the Commanders, let's say they move up to 6, which I don't think will be good enough to get a quarterback. So I don't know if that would be a whole lot of. I don't know if that would be effective enough for the Commanders. But if let's say that happens, you could still end up with Joey Porter Jr. if you still wanted to take a corner at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, that's been our NFL free agency recap. Thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow's episode of The Prime will be breaking down week 6 of the XFL, as we had some very good games this weekend, and we did have some blowouts as we find out who the teams are.
We got a blowout. We got a bit of a blowout right now because DC is literally taking Houston to the woodshed right now. It's 23-8.
So when I turned that game off, it was 8-3. So I guess it's gotten bad since I turned it off.
Yeah. Houston's undiscipline is clearly showing. Wade Phillips is taking his headset off like it's like every other play. He's just like, I don't want the mic to pick up what I'm saying.
But we'll be breaking that down tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that content. David Huffman right there is my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, and if you have any bet slips on the Philly Denver Nuggets game, you might want to change them because James Harden is not playing tonight either.
There we go. You heard it here first. Breaking news from TJ Hopkins. We'll be back here tomorrow. Please like, share, and subscribe. You all have a good night. Stay safe out there, TJ.
See you, man.
Peace out, brother.